Hello everybody, and in today's video I'm going to be predicting all 10 games in Game Week 4 of the Premier League. And also at the end of the video I will be concluding my goal of Game Week 3, and I'll be going through my last week predictions to see how many points I got from Week 3. Starting at the St. Mary's, it's Southampton versus Manchester United. And well, Manchester United, it's an absolute mess at the moment. I mean, Casemiro, it wasn't fantastic by Casemiro. I know he does have some world-class signs, but in that game, he was at fault for a couple of the goals against Liverpool. Man United didn't play fantastic, and Southampton aren't playing amazing. But I know Man United are better than Southampton. We've seen how good their defence could be against Fulham, and facing Southampton, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to go Man United. I'm just going to have to. Southampton have not looked good enough. Their possession-based football, even when it does work and it does get them chances, they still can't actually put those chances away. So I am going for a Man United win. I'm going 2-0 to Manchester United come the final whistle. As we move to Anfield, onto the 3 PM kickoffs, it's Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest. And can I say, I was completely wrong with Nottingham Forest. They have done absolutely amazing in the transfer market. They've just brought in James Ward-Prowse, which last year played superb with West Ham United. What a great signing that is. What great signings they have made. And Nottingham Forest, they were unlucky to maybe not get a win against Wolves, but probably deserved to be a draw. And I said they'll finish in 20th. If I would do my Premier League table predictions now, I would say they would finish mid-table comfortably. The transfer market's gone fantastic. They've got a great side, but against Liverpool, no chance. They look complete, Liverpool. Chiesa obviously being their kind of only massive signing. And really, I don't think they've strengthened in the right position, but I'm sure Chiesa will be able to be a great player for Liverpool. But overall, Liverpool look too complete. Fantastic in pre-season, fantastic to start off this season, and they just look too good. So I am going for another clean sheet and another 2-0 win towards Liverpool come the final whistle. As we move over to the Etihad Stadium, it's Manchester City versus Brentford. Erling Haaland's just a hacker of football. He is just a cheat code. Absolute cheat code. He's too good. He is too good. Another hat-trick. He's going to easily thrash Alan Shearer's record. I know Brentford look very good. They've obviously lost Ivan Toney. He's gone to the Saudi League. You could say he's a bit of a wasted talent, but a lot of good players are going over to the Saudi League. So the Saudi League is improving, but still, it would have been nice to see Ivan Toney go to a club like Arsenal, which would have definitely made it much harder for Man City to win the league. But nonetheless, they have no Ivan Toney. They've still got Brian Mbeumo, Wissa and Shada, which is a great attack. They brought in a couple of Liverpool's great young talents, which I'm sure can thrive under Brentford because they're a well-run club. But against Man City, they're going to be destroyed against Erling Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne, Jeremy Doku. It's just too easy. Manchester City 4, Brentford 1. As we move over to Craven Cottage, it's Fulham versus West Ham United. A London derby between Fulham and West Ham. And Fulham, they do look good. Adama Traore in particular looked really good against Manchester United. But again, no end product. Till he scored in the last game against Ipswich Town, and it was quite a close game, so fair play to Ipswich. We'll get onto them later on in the video, but Fulham look, I think, quite fine. They look like your classic mid-table Premier League side, some great talents, like I said, with Traore. Coming into this game, though, felt like West Ham looked better. They lost 3-1 against Man City, and it could have been even more at times. West Ham do look good. They could have even got a second in that game, but obviously, Man City definitely deserved it, and Man City's a hard team. But overall, the signs I've seen from West Ham look very good. But overall, West Ham do look like the better side. I was tempted to go for a draw, but I think I'm going to go with the team that I think is better here, and I feel like West Ham can win this game only just about 2-1 to the away side, West Ham United. Now we move over to Selhurst Park. It's Crystal Palace versus Leicester City, and Crystal Palace bringing in Eddie Nketiah from Arsenal. Eddie Nketiah, maybe not the world-class player for Arsenal, but I think he's definitely a guy that can probably bang in 8 to 12 goals and be a great mid-table striker, which Crystal Palace probably need, after Mateta hasn't really started off on the best of signs in terms of goals, and Elise going is huge. It just feels like the majority of chances is always ending off with Eze taking the shot, and it worked in the last game. Eze scored an absolute beauty, and bringing in Eddie Nketiah, I think, be a really great signing for Crystal Palace. And coming into this game, they are the favourites. But Leicester City, they no longer will be getting a points deduction, as they have actually won their appeal, which is definitely going to be a positive. Leicester have got a great side, and I think they could finish mid-table now they don't have a points deduction. I originally thought they'll finish in 16th, but now they don't have a points deduction, I feel like they can finish in 13th. I'm really positive with Leicester, and I feel like Crystal Palace is a better side, but because of the bounce back and the happiness of not getting a points deduction, it will probably even out to be another draw for Crystal Palace. I'm going for a 1-1 draw come the final whistle. Moving over to the Amex Stadium, it is Brighton and Hove Albion facing Ipswich Town, and Ipswich Town, I was expecting them to only have 1.3 games. And when they play Fulham, they actually look like a Premier League side. They are staying up. Full stop, they are staying up. I'm really happy in my Premier League table predictions that I put them in 17th, because they actually look like Premier League quality. Unlike Luton Town, Burnley and Sheffield United, they actually look really, really good. They look like they could survive. And bringing Sammy Smidox now, bringing in Ogbeni as well, which for Luton Town was one of their best players. I mean, the amount he will create for Ipswich is going to be crazy. And Liam Delap, straight away, he knows exactly how to think like a striker, driving forward, straight away take a shot. What a great goal from Liam Delap. Definitely a goal of a week contester. We'll get onto that at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. But Ipswich look really good. There's so many other points I could go on about Ipswich, but I'll be here all day. But going against Brighton, they look too good. They're on the bounce back. They're home here. And I think logically, Brighton are better. I am going to say a Brighton win. I could see a draw, but I just feel like Brighton look too good. They could have scored a second against Arsenal. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy on Declan Rice getting sent off, whether Veltman actually was going to take the free kick or he was actually trying to kick Declan Rice. I think maybe it was a bit harsh to send off Declan Rice because it looked like Veltman tried to kick Declan Rice. Let me know your opinions on that down below. It'd be very interesting to get your verdict. But overall, like I said, I'm going Brighton 2, Ipswich Town 1. Moving over to Villa Park, it's Aston Villa versus Everton. You know what? There's a lot of positives to take out from that Bournemouth game. I know they absolutely bottled at the end there in some dramatic fashion, but they were 2-0 up, and there was so many good signs that you can take out of it. Calvert-Lewin was a very good striker. I mean, the goal, he made a fantastic striker-style run. There's a lot of positives to take from it for Everton. The fact that they managed to score 2 goals. But they do miss Jarrad Branthwaite in that defence. They were very sleepy, very poor by Everton. And especially at Villa Park, I'm going to have to go Aston Villa. Everton, they'll show some good signs like they have done against Bournemouth. But overall, the most signs they will show is poor, sloppy defending awareness. And they will concede 3 goals again. But against Leicester, I'm sure they'll be able to get their first point. And I'm positive. But I am going to go 3-1 to Aston Villa. As we move over to the Vitality Stadium, it's AFC Bournemouth versus Chelsea. And you know what, Chelsea? They drew against Crystal Palace. They didn't do half bad. They had more possession, more shots on target, more shots. But that's expected of Chelsea. But I still feel like they've shown a lot of world-class signs, especially in the winger positions. And overall, their attack looks very, very good. And I still feel like Chelsea can get something in this game. Bournemouth, don't get me wrong, Sinistera, I said when he was at Leeds United, he looks world class. You know, he was injured a lot of times. That's why he couldn't thrive. But I said he was going to be a really game changer for Bournemouth. And he is. I believe he got 2 goal contributions alongside Kluivert, which is great at crossing the ball into the box. But overall, Bournemouth, they are really well run under Iraola. And he's just done really well. And they work really well as a team, Bournemouth. Iraola makes the team work really well. Some high intensity stuff. They should have got a win against Newcastle. And I did put this down as a 2-2 draw. I put it down as 2-2, but then I was thinking to myself, you know what, Chelsea? Your attack looks really good. And yes, they did lose in the Conference League, 2-1 to Severette, but overall they did win that game. And Chelsea looked good against Crystal Palace, and I feel like they look too good. They've got this international break to recuperate, and I feel like they will win this 3-1 to Chelsea, but I wouldn't be surprised for a draw. As we move over to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it's Tottenham Hotspur versus Arsenal. A London derby is going to be a very interesting game to watch, as Declan Rice controversially did get red carded. Like I said, put your thoughts down in the comments about that, but he's going to be a huge loss coming into this game. Declan Rice not being able to protect that defence against Ange Postecoglou's style of thinking. Yeah, I feel like there's going to be a lot of goals in this. It's going to be a lot of goals in my opinion. It's going to be quite an open game, but Tottenham, some massive signs against Newcastle. They should have won that. They should have put it to bed 2-3-1. But they didn't. That's the problem. They didn't. They created all the chances. They looked absolutely fantastic. But then defensively, just one little moment, if they lose slight momentum and the opposition goes on a little counter-attack, they're in trouble because their defence was massively open. Too open. It was too easy for Newcastle. Jacob Murphy running through, back over to Isak to score. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I was on the edge of my seat. I thought it was going to be all over when Tottenham scored and they were constantly on it. But the same defensive issues happen against Leicester, happen against Newcastle. It's probably going to happen in this game because the likes of Bukayo Saka and Trossard, that's going to be hard for Tottenham. So I think Arsenal can score a lot of goals. But I feel like Tottenham in this derby, they're going to give it their all. It's not going to be enough. I am going to give them a couple of goals because of Ange Postecoglou attacking football. But I'm going to give Arsenal 3. So I'm going Arsenal 3, Tottenham 2 come the final whistle. We move on to the Molineux Stadium. It's Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Newcastle United. And well, Newcastle, I was on the edge of my seat because Newcastle really should have lost that game. It felt like they should have. When Spurs equalised, they were just pushing and pushing. But we managed to hold on all the way to the end and we did show some world-class signs. And let's just hope, after this international break, let's hope Eddie Howe has calmed everything down and hopefully we can have a bit more of a convincing game against Wolves. Because I do feel like we can win this game considering we have started pretty strong and the morale should be high. And Fabian Schär returning into that defence and Livramento, I thought was a man of the match. I thought he was a man of the match performance. Joe Linton got it and he did have a good second half. He was an absolute unit like he was in the Southampton game. And overall, if Livramento can play like he did against Spurs, Emo Kraft can play like he did with Fabian Schär returning, I think we can get a clean sheet against a Wolves side which hasn't started off fantastically. And yes, we haven't been too convincing, but we're still a better side. And it may be biased, I'm only going just about. We're going to get a clean sheet. It's going to be 1-0 to Newcastle United come the final whistle. Don't click off yet as I'm about to say my goal of Game Week 3. And it was out of 3 different people. Liam Delap's goal, as I mentioned earlier, was an absolute great goal. Belghani's goal for Wolves, the sudden response straight after Nottingham Forest scored. And then Sugawari's goal, I really liked the start of that goal. But my goal of the Game Week 3 is going to have to be Belghani's. It was a longer distance than Sugawari's. And compare it to Liam Delap's goal, well, Leno could have probably saved Liam Delap's goal and could have probably got there on another day. But how did I do in Game Week 3? Well, I got a total of 11 points out of the possible 20 points, which is my best ever week. I'm so chuffed about that. In total, that puts me on 25 points out of 60 points so far. But get your predictions down below. And if you like this video, why not check out my table predictions that I'm about to show you for the Premier League. Toodle pip.